Hello, and welcome to this month's Composer Spotlight. This month we'll be looking at Johann Sebastian Bach. He is among those composers regarded as one of the greatest composers of all time. So he lived from 1685 to 1750, which was during the Baroque period of music. And so his death pretty much marked the end of the Baroque period. So this era that we'll be discussing is before Mozart and Beethoven, and pretty much most composers that you'll know, except for Vivaldi and Pachelbel. Bach came from a family in Germany that was known for their musical ability, and had been for a while. He was the youngest one of his family. His father played an instrument, and his older brother actually took lessons from Pachelbel. This is the Pachelbel from Pachelbel's Canon, the classic wedding walk down the aisle song. So his older brother probably passed some of Pachelbel's tips down to Bach. Bach also had experience singing in a choir at school in his teens, and later on, in 1703, he was the organist in a church in Arnstadt, which gave him a regular salary. He was only 18 when he got this job, and this was when he expanded his already commendable skills on the organ. So we now look back in time to see Bach as a great composer, but during this time when he was alive, he was mostly known for his organ and keyboard skills. In fact, he became so good at improvising and reharmonizing things that sometimes he harmonized the hymns so unfamiliarly or so strangely that the congregation wasn't sure what he was playing when they were supposed to sing along. He also didn't write any cantatas during that time, which he was supposed to do as part of his job, and took leaves that sometimes lasted months, presumably to go exploring for other musical styles in other cities. Some accounts suggest he didn't really get along with some of the singers and musicians there where he worked because they might have not been good enough for his standards. But despite all of these downsides, he was so good that his employers basically kept him anyway because they knew he was super talented and they didn't want to lose him. So a good example of his organ music is his famous organ Toccata and Fugue in D minor, which is possibly one of the most famous pieces of classical music. So it evokes that kind of stereotypical Gothic Halloween vibe with the organ, and you can kind of hear it in the movie. You can hear it in the movie Fantasia and probably a good number of cartoons or commercials. So if you're wondering what a toccata is, which is the first section of the piece, the word itself basically meant in Bach's day a piece written in a way to show how dexterous the performer's fingers are and how much skill they have. So it has a lot of fast-moving sections with lots of notes so that the performer can basically show off. So when you're listening to the first part of the piece, remember that that's the toccata section where it's going to be all nice and fancy. And then after this section, it's followed by a fugue. So a fugue is a composition with two or more parts, and it's all full of counterpoint, in which a short melody or phrase is played by one part, and then taken up by others and developed by interweaving the parts. Bach was exceptionally good at these, so when you listen to this section, pay attention to how it starts with a theme and then develops it with the help of more voices coming in. And if you're interested in listening to a kind of a cool arrangement of the main theme of this piece, you can also hear Jennifer Thomas's rendition of it on piano, and see how you can recognize the themes that she has on it, and which parts she changed. Yeah, so that's that for this run, and we'll see you next time.